Hello, welcome. Thank you for checking out this video. Today I am meeting up with This is Landon, also known as Equilibrium Man. We're gonna chat about his series. It is such a cool idea that he's doing of trying to level up each skill one at a time, keep everything within one range. So if his skills are 55, he can only go up to 56 until everything's 56, and then he can go up to 57, and then so on and so forth. One of the things that goes on with his series is if he messes that up, if he accidentally goes too far, he restarts his whole account. One of the things I love about RuneScape content in general is when you can take a simple idea and expose how complex it actually is. And that's one of the things I think Landon has really highlighted. So go check him out. Go check out his series, Equilibrium Man, on YouTube. You can also go follow him on Twitch at This Is Landed. And I hope you guys enjoy. All right. Well, here we are. We are at the Farming Guild, and I am here with Equilibrium Man.
The one and only.
Well, sort of the one and only, right? How many accounts are you in deep now?
This is the 8th account.
Eight.
So far, it seems like it might be the last one. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I assume it must have gotten easier the deeper into the account you've gone. Has that been the case?
It it's definitely true in the sense that it's very difficult to overlevel a skill without me noticing because
Mm,
I'm at the point where it's about 20 XP per level right now. But
okay.
there are other issues.
What have those issues been? What have you found?
Biggest problem has been Slayer because I think one of my commenters pointed out that you get 1.25 hit points XP for every one Slayer XP. So it's the Slayer's always falling behind.
Yeah, yeah. Have things like the potion or the poison, the explosive poison, has that been any use to you?
Not really. I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't needed to do it yet. So far, I've been able to keep it up with lamps, so just
Mm,
random event lamps and lamps from achievement diaries.
yeah.
But I've definitely got some backups in the line.
Oh, do you? How is it okay to ask how far along those are? Are they close? Are they
I mean, one thing that I've got is the XP tomes from temple trekking. That's sort of in
okay?
the back pocket. I haven't actually done any yet, but it's possible to get Slayer XP for free there. So that's sort of my
Gotcha,
main
gotcha,
backup that I've got in mind.
gotcha. I thought you meant backup accounts. That's how I thought you were saying you have backup accounts
Oh
ready to
no,
go.
no.
But
I mean, I am working on one secret backup account where I'm trying to do what I'm coining as extreme equilibrium.
okay, is
It's
it?
very slowly trying to get all skills up to level 10 to match with hit points so that I can stay equal the whole way.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool.
It's
So I
terrible.
know, yeah, I bet that sounds really hard. The snowflakey, like when like the one OSAT accounts and stuff like that sound so
Yeah, yeah.
difficult when you're talking about like doing the pumping at blast furnace or cannoning. What have
There
been
are
some of you?
times when it's nice and calming and relaxing to just AFK it, but then there are times when, like, right now at 20k XP, if I had to pump the whole time, that's probably like a good few hours.
What has been your least favorite training method so far?
Farming by picking herbs at the sorcerer's garden is
Mm,
just terrible.
yeah. What is it about
It's
that you
like
find?
it's 50 farming XP per run, and I mean you just gotta run it over and over again. So monotonous, so tedious. It's not like
Yeah.
hard, but it's slow. Like even when I was at level 35 or so, it was taking me 4+ hours to get a level. So
Mm.
I've been trying to stop doing that recently.
And that's the one where you can trade it for thieving XP. Is that right?
Yeah, the normal way to do it is to pick the fruit and trade it for thieving XP, but there's like a side patch where you can pick herbs. You get
Oh,
two
okay.
random herbs for 50 farming XP. And I mean, there's better ways to train farming, but the main issue is getting the herbs for the herb lore.
To get into what your account rules are, your goal is to level all your stats one level at a time equally. That's the whole concept of
Yep,
equilibrium, man,
as
correct?
equally as possible. I try to keep them within one skill level. So right now I'm at base 56. I've got about half my stats at 57, and I'm working the others up to 57 so I can go up to the next level.
So I know in your first episode, you were talked about you played for a little bit and then you took like a year off after that first account got messed up. Is that, do I remember that correctly?
So it was like, I don't know, 4 accounts in the first episode.
Hmm.
I messed up the three, and then I had one that did well and actually succeeded to get to base 12, and I just got kind of burned out on RuneScape. So I stopped playing for a year on like all accounts, main included.
Yeah,
But then at the
gotcha.
start of this year, I started working on my main again, and got like a couple 99s under my belt for the first time ever. And I was like, all right, I'm back into RuneScape. Let's work on this video series I had the idea for.
When you first started with Equilibrium Man, was doing a RuneScape, like a YouTube series, was that part of your plan or is that just something that you thought you might do later?
It was sort of part of the plan. I was recording my gameplay in case I wanted to use it, but it wasn't like dead set. I created the account for RuneScape or for YouTube. I created it to see if I could play it, and the YouTube would have just been an afterthought, which it
Yeah.
really was an afterthought a year later. But
Yeah, I
as it turns
know.
out, some people like it.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And I think one of the things I really like about your series is there's some series I watch and the creator is kind of my least favorite part about it.
Oh
the
no,
like the concept
I've been
the
there.
concept, yeah. The concept is fun, the rules are fun, but like the person isn't my style, right? But I think with yours, your personality shines through so much because I hope this doesn't come across as an insult, but I think the concept is a little uh is not that
Oh
exciting like
yeah,
oh one level at
it's
a time, you know?
extremely repetitive.
Yeah.
Like
But you
both
do
to
such
play
a
and obviously to watch too, but I tried to make it exciting.
yeah, I think you do a really good job that it you're using that to show your personality through it. And like one of my favorite moments is when you're talking to the camera and you're saying like, "Oh, I messed up and I'm thinking about like here's some ways I could get it work around it." And then you're like, "Fuck that. I'm just going to redo it and start over." And I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
this is something really special." Not a lot of people have that uh instinct to be like, "Yeah, I messed up. Time to start over."
That's one of the reasons that I stopped originally playing was I had gotten so when I first made the account, the very first account, Equal Guy, I was like way into it. I was like, I'm gonna play the hell out of this. I bought a year membership outright for like $80 or however much it was at the time, and then the account failed at like level 4, and I was like, well, shit, I don't want to give up a year. So
Yeah.
my idea was I would get the other account to prove that I could, get myself that high, and then I'd go back to the original account just to be like, I've proved I could do it, so let's just get caught up and start being equal again from there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, something felt wrong about it when I started playing on the original account again. So I ended up stopping playing the game for a year. And when I came back, it was, my year of membership was all gone, so there was nothing to worry about. I could start from scratch.
There you go. You took care of that problem. Just went on probation.
Yeah, yeah, just throw $80 out the window. It'll be okay.
So you said this is your eighth account, right?
Yes, I believe
What
if
were
I've
the
been counting right.
what were the things, if you remember, that caused you to end your other accounts?
Um, a lot of the times it was actually Slayer. Thinking back,
Hmm.
either because my combats were all the correct level, but Slayer was lagging behind, and then I would try to balance my XP so that I wouldn't level up again, but could
Yeah.
get Slayer up, but then I would, look away. That was the other thing is me not paying enough attention was the biggest killer.
Yeah, I
So I
bet
would look
for
away for a minute and then accidentally get too much XP on one skill and ruin it.
yeah, that's terrible. Not when you're doing something boring that you can't AFK, that
Yeah.
really saps energy when you're playing this game.
I've always hated Slayer. It's always been one of my least favorite skills.
Yeah,
So
mine too.
that definitely carried over to these accounts. It's gotten a lot
Do you,
nicer now that it takes more XP for each level, though. It's a lot harder for me to mess up.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it gives a lot more buffer room for things you don't expect, right?
Yep.
So I know you had mentioned about getting the quest cape. Is that one of your main goals, or
Yeah.
is getting the max cape? Which
That's
which cape do you care more about?
so I sort of teased it that I'm going for the quest cape as my initial goal, and then I said, but who knows what's after? And then I showed like a blacked out max cape just to
Mm,
sort of tease the idea that I might go for max.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, max has always been the goal.
yeah, yeah,
But it feels tough to say it even to myself because I've
yeah.
never gotten a max cape. Even on my
Mm,
main, I got my first 99 ever in my history of playing RuneScape this year. So it's tough to just go straight up and say, yeah, I'm going for a max cape this YouTube series. So I wanted to ease myself into it by going for the quest cape first.
yeah. Well, I think the quest cape is really like a really interesting goal because there's so many. Like you think of what is it called? Song of the Elves has so many like level 70
Yep.
requirements that it kind of forces you like trying to get it as early as possible makes you really have to balance out which
Yep.
quests you're going to do in what order because they all give so many different rewards.
And that's sort of like the plan I've got going into it is I don't want to just get the quest cape. I want to get it as soon as I possibly can. So like I've thought for a while now that when I get base 70, I'm going to see if I can do Song of the Elves at base 70.
Mm.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to or not, but I'm going to give it a try, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And are you currently a UIM? Is that right?
Yep.
How's that been going?
I mean, there's challenges, that's for sure. Like right now
Yeah.
I got my pocket full of seeds trying to do farming contracts.
Oh, you can't
I
even
had
use
to
the seed vault, huh?
drop my runes just to hold my arrows to fletch. Yeah, no seed vault. The
Yeah,
only
I
thing I
thought
could
that.
possibly use to store seeds is the seed box from Gricolier's farm, but
Yeah.
that's a little tough to get while still getting herbs.
Yeah. And plus, it's only you can only do so much at a time with your thing because once you get a level, you got to leave.
Yeah,
So it's not like you can stack the points
exactly.
very
That's
fast.
another thing. Is like a lot of UIMs, they'll drop everything and then they'll work on one skill until, whatever their goal is so that they have as much inventory space to work around that as possible. But I've sort of got to be prepared for any skill at any time. So my looting bag is full of skilling supplies, whereas a normal guy would be able to keep, good gear or whatever in there.
So do you find like if you're looking for ways to speed up your training or your account, what type of accounts do you find have solved problems for yours the most? Like I could see Ultimate Ironman or OSAT accounts or, different types of snowflakes being helpful, but which ones do you find are the ones that you get the most resource from?
I'd say definitely the number one is ultimates. Just like knowing the ways that you can get XP without having, a bank to store your items in.
Mm,
Like for example, with fletching, I've never done fletching without having 100 or 1,000 logs in the bank that I can just draw out and fletch on. So I had to learn from other ultimates that I could go get my arrow shafts and my feathers, arrow shafts at the ranging guild, feathers at the fishing shop, and just stand there and fletch with with a few inventory slots. So it's something that, as a main account, I've never dealt with before. So ultimates, like another example is crafting, where I watched Settled get his 99 on his original UIM by getting glass at the Port Phasmatis charter ship and just running back and forth to the furnace, making molten glass and blowing it.
Yeah, that's a brutal one too.
So that sort of taught me how I could get XP with no bank, because this is
Yeah.
really my first UIM account,
And your original,
the
the
whole
first,
Equilibrium series.
yeah, but they weren't all UIMs, right? This was I think this is the first one, or maybe I have that wrong. Because the other
No,
ones were
no,
just,
they were all UIMs.
oh, were they? Okay.
I
thought
don't
there
know
was a,
why when I started it I thought it would be fun. Probably because I was watching too much Settled at the time.
gotcha.
So I sort of stuck with UIM from the start.
Yeah, I don't know. I could have sworn that your original one was just a normal Iron Man, but that's intense to jump into this challenge with a UIM from the start.
That's definitely true. I feel it.
Do you
It's
think
still a little
playing a
intense, but I'm getting used to it.
yeah? Do you think playing a normal UIM is something that you'd be interested later on, or do you think this has satisfied that?
I would say this has definitely satisfied that. I did
Yeah.
in my year break at some point I had made a free to play ultimate that I played around on, and that gave me another little scratch of the itch, but
Mhm.
I feel like this is definitely kind of like the ultimate Iron Man, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I would go to a regular ultimate after this.
Yeah. Yeah. So my account is not an ultimate, it's just a normal Iron Man. But I get disconnected from banks all the time. And so I have to play somewhat similar. And I hate it. I hate the UIM gameplay. I
Yeah,
despise it.
it's definitely
It,
not for everyone.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's stressful having to decide what you're going to keep and what you're going to drop.
Oh, trust me, I know. That's like every skill I work on. I've got to decide what I'm gonna keep.
So what you're
That's why
working
I'm
on
sort of just
fletching.
AFKing right now, working on farming.
Yeah. What is your goal? What so sorry, this is I'm all jumbled up. When you're doing it, do you commonly do two things at once, like fletching and farming, or do you typically go with I'm just gonna focus this and then I'll move on to the next skill?
I mean, to start, I definitely did more combinations because, like, it'd be impossible for me to train smithing without doing mining. But now that I've got more ways to do all of my skilling, it's a lot more of the time just focused on one thing at a time. The only exception being farming, because I've sort of got to, you got to wait, and I don't want to just wait around for a week while training my farming.
Yeah.
So what I do with farming is I'll stock up on seeds that I might need to complete contracts, and then do something like fletching right here, where I just need a few spaces for my arrow shafts.
Well, which is your least favorite and favorite skill to train on this account?
Hmm. One of the least favorite is probably prayer. It's become easier recently, or I wouldn't say easier. It's become faster recently because I've tried out new methods, but it's a pain. Like right now, I'm getting all of my prayer XP by killing myself to death pile, leave all my items on the ground, and then I've got a time on a time clock. I've got 1 hour. Get as much prayer XP as I can, so I run into the wilderness and pick up all the big bones I can, and take them to the chaos altar and get killed by PKers, and do that like 5 times, and maybe I'm halfway through the level, so I gotta go pick my stuff up and then die again and then do another prayer run. It's really stressful.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds not fun. Is pest
Uh,
control not something that would help you out?
It could, but right now I'm using my woodcutting XP to get fire making XP and
Mm.
construction XP, just because it's quicker and easier. And sort of on a time crunch, like my last episode, it took me a whole month to release a new one because it was just so slow to get some levels. So I'm trying to cut out on low XP methods like pest control for woodcutting. I might go back to it in the future when I've got more like free woodcutting XP, but definitely can't do it right now.
Do you find that you have a lot of overlap with one skill at a time accounts, or do you think that there is just so far, like the gap is too far to compare?
Um, I'd say with one skill at a time, it's kind of different. Kind of I don't know because there's like a monotony in mine where, I have to get one level of everything and then restart and get one level of everything and then restart. But whereas, one skill at a time, they also have a monotony of like, all they can do is one thing until they hit 99, then they can move
Yeah.
on. But it's a different sort of monotony because, I've got skills that I hate like agility. I can just do that for one level and then move on. Whereas, on a one skill at a time, they just got to grind it out.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of breaks from the terrible stuff. Have you found that so when I started my account, I was not aware of other time lock chunk men, but after I found a bunch that are doing something similar. Have you found other people who are doing equilibrium style accounts?
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
when I originally had the idea, I was like, "Oh, this is totally unique. No one's done this before." And then when I was taking my year break, at some point during that process, I discovered like Slayer Music, who is very famous for his quest guides, has done this concept before. I think he stopped at like level 70s or something
Okay.
like that. But I'm definitely not the first. And then since I started this, I've had all kinds of people in the comments telling me about people who have done it in the past and didn't even make videos about it. Like they just did it for fun.
Mm.
Like I forget the names. One of them was Balanced Flea. They're also a UIM who does all of their levels one at a time, and they're like at 94 right now. But they don't do videos. They just do it for fun, just for the love of the game.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do you find that making the YouTube videos is a helpful motivation to continue going on?
Absolutely. At times, it kind of feels like if I want to take a break, I can't because I've got people that are waiting for it now.
Mm.
But at the same time, whenever I'm starting to feel a little slowdown, when I feel like I don't know if I want to play RuneScape today, I'm like, there's people out there who are waiting for this, and I have fun making it, so let's just grind it out. Let's play another couple levels, and then I get back into it. So it's definitely helped me to stay in the game.
Moving forward from 57s, 56s, and getting to 70, how far from 70 once you do Song of the Elves do you think you are going to be away from like the quest cape?
Um, I think after 70, there's only like 5 quests in the game right now that require skills at that level or higher. I believe 75 is the highest requirement for Desert Treasure 2, and I
Okay.
would love to try and get a quest cape at 75, though I don't know if
Yeah.
that exactly is going to be possible.
Do you have the quest cape on your main?
I had it at one point about a year before I started the YouTube series when I
Oh,
before I stopped playing. I had the
yeah.
quest cape, and then when I took my year off, the skills kind of or the quests fell behind as they released more and more. And when I started playing again, I've pretty much just been skilling on my main, so I don't have it right now, but I have had it in the past.
Gotcha. Yeah. Have you done Desert Treasure 2 yet?
Nope. I think
Yeah.
the last quest I did was like Secrets of the North or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Is
I'm
that
like 10
the
quests
Muspa
behind
or
on the
something?
main.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'd be really excited to see you do Desert Treasure 2. That was such a fun one, but it is so hard. At least it was so hard for
Yeah.
me.
I mean, I've seen some videos on it. I haven't looked too much into it, but it definitely looks tough.
Mm. When you play on your main, what type of content do you typically lean towards? Like PVM, skilling, PvP?
Um, I don't know. I'm just kind of like skilling mostly, I would say. These days, I don't really play on just my main. It's always running in the background, and I'm just slowly working on AFK skilling while doing something on this account. But even whenever I wasn't playing on this account, my favorite activities are definitely skilling.
Have you considered going to 200 mil equally all the way there? Has
Oh
that crossed
man,
your mind yet?
it has. Ju- I've had the thought, but I've never like I don't even have 200 mil total on my main right now,
Yeah.
so I don't really see that being possible. But I did have the thought, like, I mean, after I get 99, I could do like 1 mil, 1 mil at a time. But I don't know. If that happens, I mean, first off, it's going to be like 10 years from now.
Yeah, yeah.
So we don't have to worry about it yet. But if it did happen, it would definitely be something that happens in the background while I work on something else.
Yeah. Do you think you'll continue doing YouTube stuff once you finish with your equal
Oh,
series?
yeah.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about things that I can do aside from the Equilibrium Man accounts. And now that I've got the following, I definitely want to keep, making videos that are in my style.
You should do one that's unequal. You're not allowed to have anything that matches. Just the whole way.
Oh no, that sounds terrible for me.
That'd be really confusing
The
too,
whole
switching
like
between the two
genesis of the
accounts.
account was like the whole genesis of the account was like on my main I would be like, my rune crafting is down at 60, but everything else is above 70. Let's get rune crafting up to 70, and then I can work on other things. So like I've sort of always had that I want things to be about even mentality.
Mm.
I just kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
took it to the extreme with this account.
Yeah, no, it's fun. The that was something I always wanted to do like when I was a kid was to start a new account and only use controlled to 99 so I can get all three, the attack, strength and defense all at once. And
Now that's
you
just crazy. But yes, I've also had that thought.
yeah, I mean you kind of did it. I mean it's not controlled, but your whole account is.
It's true.
When did you start playing RuneScape?
My very first account was created in 2004,
And that would
so
be like
20
around
years.
RuneScape 2 time, right?
Yeah, I learned recently that RuneScape 2 came out March 2004, and I think I started like 3 or 4 months after that. So
Okay, cool.
I was I was
And
uh I was pretty new on there, fresh off the presses.
yeah, yeah. Did you play through like up until RuneScape 3? Did you take a break? How did all that go for you?
Um, my brother was really more of the RuneScape guy, while I did more Halo on Xbox. So I never really had a
Okay.
good account, but I had like maybe an account that had 60s in the combat stats and less than that in other stats. And I think it was like 2008 they took out the wilderness, and I was like, that's kind of lame. I think that's a good enough reason to not play anymore. So I sort of cut my ties at 2008, and then after hearing about all the drama that happened after that, I think I did. I got out while the getting was good.
Yeah.
But
What brought you
once
back?
old school came out, I wasn't like a super early adopter because again I was my brother was the guy who played on the computer most of the time, and I didn't have my own yet. But once I had my own computer, it was only a matter of time until I got back to the RuneScape.
Does your brother still play? Does he watch your stuff?
I don't know if he's been watching the videos. He's a family man now with like a million kids, so he doesn't have time to do the computer gaming.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he's like maxed on RuneScape 3, I think.
Okay.
He's one of those.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Fake
keeps telling
player. That's what you mean.
me to play the real RuneScape, and I'm like, nah, I'm not so sure.
Have you tried RuneScape 3?
I have. Um, I want to like it, but the UI
Yeah.
just sucks so much.
Yeah, I hate it.
Like
I don't
whenever
get
I
it.
open up an account, I'm like, yeah, let's jump in there, brand new account, see if we can experience it from the beginning with all the changes they've made. And like, I don't know, some of the story stuff, maybe it's cool, but like you get out of the tutorial and your screen has like 20 different UI windows, and I'm like, this ain't RuneScape, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember because I took a long break as well after around the EOC time, and I came back to RuneScape 3 and I tried it, and I was like, I do not recognize this game at all. This does not feel like I'm playing anything that I'm familiar with.
It's like a totally different video game. And like, they say, oh, there's ways you can make it more like the old school to get your feet wet and get into it. Like they've got some kind of legacy combat mode, but it's not viable at all.
Hmm.
And I don't know, it just doesn't look right.
Yeah,
I love the
yeah,
old
I know
school
people.
graphics. I'm an HD OSRS hater. I'll never
Yeah,
go HD. This is
yeah,
my graphic style.
yeah. People seem to love it, but I think it's you kind of had to grow up with it to get there, and
Yeah.
I did not. I gave up on it before it got to that point.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah. Did you, when you were taking your time off from RuneScape, were you watching RuneScape content on YouTube and stuff
Yes,
like that?
absolutely. Yeah, you never stop watching, especially with like, I don't know. I think that was like around the time that Settle was doing McTile and
Okay.
Gillinor Games was starting to pop off. There was plenty of stuff to watch, and ultimately that's what got me back into the game was all the content creators having so much fun.
Yeah, right. It's like it's almost infectious seeing like, oh, that's such a cool idea. I wonder what that'd be like. And then you jump in and get sucked right back into it all.
Yep, that's exactly how it was.
Are you so I know you mentioned settled a few times. Would you say that's kind of your biggest inspiration towards YouTube content?
I would say yes, just because he makes seemingly stupid concepts so fun to watch, and he's definitely the reason that I'm an ultimate. Is he made it look so enjoyable on Swampletics, and that's sort of what got me to try the ultimate, play style, and
Yeah.
I found that it's kind of for me.
I know you said your ultimate would your ultimate would be itched. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. The desire
Yeah,
to
yeah.
play an ultimate would be done. Um, but do you think if you did like an area restricted account or something like that next, is that something that you would consider again, or do you think you would just try to find something that removes that aspect of it?
I'm not sure. It's sort of like I kind of like the idea of something like what you and Chunk Evil are doing,
Hmm.
where there are times when you don't have access to a bank, but you still have the opportunity to get a bank at times. I sort
Yeah.
of like that idea, and I could potentially find some way to work around that.
Yeah, it is fun being able to know, okay, I have this XP stored and I can get back to it at another time. So I don't have to worry about wasting progress or having to redo like drop mining. I hate drop mining because it's just like, well, there goes so much
Yeah,
smithing XP every tick.
that's mining has also always been one of my least favorite skills, just because it's so click intensive until they released the Motherlode mine, and then
Yeah, yeah.
Motherlode mine was pretty decent, and stars are amazing. I love them. I got to
Oh, yeah.
99 mining on my main just off stars,
Nice.
but
Yes,
like
stars
I
are
hate
great.
mining on this account because I I hate like I've either got to mine an inventory, walk away all the way to a furnace, smelt the bars, and then it's not even enough smithing XP for a level, even if I spend a whole mining level doing it. So like, it's a real pain in the ass.
Yeah. The so mining and smithing, the XP rates, it's not one for one. Is
Nope.
that the biggest disparity between two like overlapping skills, or do you find there's something worse than that?
Um, That's definitely the biggest one. Like fishing and cooking, you easily outlevel cooking over fishing. You don't have to worry about that at all. Fire
Yeah.
making and wood cutting, you easily outlevel fire making. Um, Smithing is the only like processing type skill that doesn't isn't kept up with by its resource gathering counterpart.
Yeah. It it is nice, I guess, that you could buy ores, but then you have to get the money, which is another issue for your account, right?
Oh yeah, it definitely has been recently solved sort of by Crack the Clue 3 getting
Okay.
plenty of
What
ruby
is
rings and selling them to shops.
there so I know we talked a little bit about Settle. Are there other series that you find inspiration from or that you're just kind of enjoying?
I mean, I don't know. I watch just about all of them.
Yeah.
Of course, a big limp work guy. Love that
Hmm.
guy. He made me want to try an extreme account, even though it's probably definitely not for me. But I'm slowly working on it in the background as maybe I'll put some videos out on this whenever Equal Man gets really slow. But and then whenever you are caught up on all your favorites, you start looking in the mines, start
Yeah,
finding other
yeah.
people who are just starting out like me, and I don't know, I'm subscribed to like 20 different chunk accounts and all kinds of different restrictions.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy the chunk content. That's one of my favorites. Like those are probably the ones that I am most likely to give a shot if have no idea who they are. It's like, well, I
Yep,
know
me
this
too.
concept and I know how it works. Let's see how this person does. And typically people are really good now.
Yeah, it's really fun finding people who like find new twists to it too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like you mentioned Chunk Evil before.
Yeah, I
His
was really amazed whenever I saw Chunk Evil for the first time. I was like, wow, that's such a cool concept to do the chunk account, because I kind of agree with him that like it feels a little a shame whenever they've already got 99 defense and woodcutting off of their starting account, and then
Mhm.
combat's a breeze going on from there. How would it be
Yeah,
to
yeah.
work on combat like every chunk at a time?
Yeah. Yeah, his stuff is so good. His editing too is really like some of my favorite.
Oh yeah, some of these people's editing blows me away. Like Josh is in gaming, his is
Yeah, Josh
incredible.
is great. Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm not good enough. Feel like I got to step up my game.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that feeling, but I think your stuff is so much fun. It's very different, but
Yeah,
I think that's what's so fun about RuneScape content in general is that there's such a wide variety of personalities and styles and editing choices and the way you film and how you tell the story that it doesn't feel like everyone's playing the same game.
definitely true.
So
I
I
also
used
think
to
it's wild that you know 5 years ago, every RuneScape content you watched was somebody just doing clip after clip after clip, like, I just got 55, whatever. Now I'm gonna go do this quest. I just did this quest and I got this level from it. No, I'm gonna go try to get this item. And, all this, like, extremely, like, live reactionary type content. And then now, in the past couple of years, the extremely edited content, like Josh Isn't and Gillinor Games and um, Settled Series and Unguided. It's like a lot more storytelling framework around it. Jimmy, of course. Jimmy's the god of it.
yeah, yeah, Jimmy's great. Yeah, it's like it feels like the peak of RuneScape content right now. Like things feel so there's like so much good, heavily produced, interesting concepts. Like people are making so much cool stuff.
Definitely true. It almost makes you wonder where the game could go from there, but at the same time, it's been out for 25 years now and it's still going new places. So I guess we'll just see how far it can go.
Yeah, that's what's cool about like your series and that you mentioned Unguided and then like Alex Bailey. You guys all coming up with these like the chunk account, the Equilibrium Man, and the Quest accounts have been in the game since the beginning, but no one stopped to slow down enough to be like, oh, I wonder if I could use this as a game mode itself. Take this mechanic and create something. And I'm sure there's got to be a lot of other things that people are going to find and come up with and create to make this whole new subgenre of stuff again.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see it happening.
So, as you are looking towards the future of this account, is there any skills or any like challenges that you have coming up that you're like, oh, I don't want to get to that.
Well, starting to worry about herb lore
Mm,
because it was relatively easy to keep up with herb lore when I was doing Sorcerer's Garden for farming.
yeah,
But recently I've been trying to do farming contracts to get herb seeds and just try to farm up all the herbs I need. But it really I'm starting to run low on the herb back pile and
yeah,
getting a little worried about it.
yeah.
Other than
Because
that,
even
though, I
like,
don't know. I'm always looking forward to whenever I can do new quests. Like I just got to do Dragon Slayer 1.
oh,
Like
nice,
this is definitely the toughest account I've ever had. That like the highest level I've ever been doing Dragon Slayer 1.
yeah, yeah,
So that was very fun to finally do, and hopefully I'll get to do Monkey Madness sometime soon.
yeah.
So
How do
I
you
wouldn't really say I'm not looking forward to any quests in particular, but definitely some of the skill and grinds are tough in the future.
how do you go about picking which quest you're gonna do next?
I essentially every time I hit a new base level, I look through all the quests that I haven't done yet, find the ones that I have enough XP to do, and just knock them out in order. Basically, it's pretty much just all about whether or not I've got the XP to do it, and if I do, I try and get it done.
Do you when you say base level, you're meaning like is 58 a base level, or are you talking about 70, 60? Like,
Yeah, like 58's a base level.
yeah,
I, that's the way that I would say it on my main is like, base 70, and then you've got, some skills that are over 80, but you're base 70 because that's the lowest you've got. But
yeah,
when the lowest you've got is the same for every skill, that's your new base level.
yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
Right now I'm at base 56.
Do you how much planning goes in when you get to that point? I know you said you go through the quest, but is there other things that you're having to pay attention to or worry about or consider in your
Absolutely. What? So it's not just like, because I want to make it look fun. Like I
Mhm.
just did Heroes Quest, and I spent like 2 days getting the perfect amounts of XP and strategizing it so that when I completed the quest, I would level up 11 skills all at once.
Oh, nice.
And there's lots of stuff like that that goes into you know planning out exactly how much XP I can leave behind to still get the level after getting this and things like that.
Do you enjoy that aspect, the like planning like so in depth about what you're gonna do? Is that part fun for you or does that feel like a chore?
It depends. Sometimes I have fun doing it, but sometimes I'm like, man, I just really want to AFK skill right now, but I can't because I got to save that XP for this quest and
Mm,
stuff like that. But for the most part, I'd say it's fun.
yeah. Have you found anything like have you even if it's if other people know about it or it's not like a secret or anything like that, but have you discovered anything personally playing this way that has surprised you?
That's a good question. I don't know that I have.
Mm,
I I sort of like it seems like most of the game like levels up together. So like if you've got all your skills at 70, um then you unlock a new range of things to do up until 80. But like when you're keeping them all equal, one level at a time, really not much is different. You still only get like those big unlocks at like 50. You unlock Winter Todd, and at 60 you unlock dragon armor and dragon weapons. Nothing, not much has changed from just like doing base levels on a main account.
yeah. Would you say Winter Todd has been one of your biggest unlocks for you?
It was something that I was really looking forward to, but now I'm kind of scared of it because you get a lot of XP after the game ends. And I
Yeah.
feel like I'm still at the stage where that could potentially overlevel me. So I'm sort of avoiding Wintertod for now.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense because you get the once you kill it, you get the big drop.
Yep.
It's like I'm
And I
trying.
think
Is
like
it?
you'll also get XP while you're playing the game, so it's hard to calculate out like, you've played the game and the game's just about to end. Do I have enough XP to where the XP drop is gonna kill me or not?
Yeah.
It's not something that I want to have to worry about yet.
Do you typically stop training an account? So like you're at 56 base right now. Do you stop training a skill after you hit 57, or will you push it and be like, "Oh, I'm in the groove. I'm gonna get close to 58 and then pull away."
Typically, I stop just to save myself from myself
Yeah.
because, like, there's a very infamous part where my account that had gone the farthest yet was like at base 18, and then I just leveled up construction twice because I wasn't paying attention and had to start all over. And I definitely want that to never happen again. So when
Yeah.
I hit the level, I try to stop just to have as much back cushion as possible for if I like start to train it again without thinking. And then I'm like, wait a second, I'm already at the level I need. The only ones that I would still train are like farming. Like if I've got herb seeds, I'm going to do a farming run, whether I need the XP or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. What do you think if you over leveled a skill on this account? Do you think you would start over again?
I would. I have thought about it, and I know that I would start over, but I'm really not looking forward to it. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
avoid it at all costs. I've got, I don't know, I need to add it up. I've got like 600 hours on the account now. So
Yeah.
if I had to start over, it would be very sad. But I would do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's part of the bit.
I mean, it's such a good element to your account. It adds like such a like even as an audience member, I feel stressed watching your series of like, oh,
Yeah,
I would
a
feel
lot of people have said
terrible.
that.
Yeah, I would feel terrible if you had to restart again.
I, I I really like it at the beginning of the series. I feel like it's getting less intense now just because it seems like it's so much easier to stay equal, but man, they don't know how much I'm stressing behind the scenes.
Have you considered doing an equal man on like leagues or something like that, like a mini series on there?
Sort of, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I've never really played leagues. I never really
Okay.
put any attention into them. I watched some of the videos on them, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not that into temporary game modes. I'd rather progress my actual account
Yeah.
because maybe if I was maxed on my main account, I'd put some time into leagues. But yeah, I got real XP to gain. I can't be gaining fake temporary XP.
I think leagues is a lot of fun, even though it's temporary. It's kind of like everyone is doing the same type of snowflake account, and the community feels much more engaged with itself than the main game can feel sometimes.
I can see that. I've also heard the horror stories though of like the league burnout where you're so used to getting 10x XP and then you come back to the real game and you're like, oh man, this is so slow, I can't handle it.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like you're sleeping and someone dumps a bucket of cold water on your head going back to the main game.
I feel like I would die if I was like getting 10x agility XP and then I came back to the main game and had to go back to doing 10,000 laps. I couldn't handle that.
Well, the last leagues, there was a pair of boots. And I guess they came from RS3, but I don't know firsthand. But there was a pair of boots that you wore and just passively got agility. And it was so
They
nice.
should add that to the main game.
Yeah,
I
seriously.
want
It was,
that.
people would make in Falador, there's two fountains, and they figured out a way to follow each other and just constantly run. And people were getting 99 agility in like 4 hours or something like that, just following each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it
I
was a
can
good time.
definitely see leagues being fun for reasons like that.
Yeah, it's fun. I like it. It's my favorite mode, but I also understand that like it's not progressing anything and it is temporary and it goes away. Cuz like once you finish, it's not as satisfying. Like I got some weapons from TOB and stuff like that in the last one. I was like, oh well, I don't care. It doesn't mean anything anymore. When you are going through quests, do you get nervous from the XP you get during the quest is going to mess up your calculations for the bonuses at the end? Is that something that has been difficult to work around?
Yes, absolutely. There's definitely been quests that give you XP during it that have either thrown things off to where I had to delay completing the quest, or like I felt like they would throw things off, so I had to be like, no, I'll do this next time. Like Giant's Foundry, you get some amount of XP, and I was like, I've got exactly enough XP to complete the quest, but then I started doing it, and you start getting small, like just like 8 XP. Here's 5 XP while you're grinding down this sword. But whenever you're working on tight margins, that's enough to kill it. So I had to I was working on Giant's Foundry, and I just had to stop halfway through the quest and come back to it next level. Or like Guardians of the Rift, that one you get like 5,000 XP for completing the quest, but then you get like 5,000 more during the quest at random points. And
Oh, yeah.
it took me a long time to find enough XP to do that.
Because that was something I was thinking about with Desert Treasure 2, because you have to kill the bosses in the quest
Yes,
to finish. And it can take a lot of attempts depending
that
on
XP
your.
has definitely been a trouble. Like
Yeah.
I could possibly get a fire cave, but if I were to attempt to get a fire cave, I'd probably get like 2 range levels just killing all the minions on the way through.
Mm,
So I couldn't I wouldn't I don't think I have enough XP to do that until like past the base 70.
yeah. Yeah. And there's
And
a
I'm
big
definitely concerned
drop.
about that for bosses and quests too.
Yeah. 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 Because like with Desert Treasure 2, I know when I did it, I took like, I think 20 attempts at Leviathan or something like that to get through. And I could see that chip XP like ticking over without noticing it as much.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more to keep in mind as you play this account style than you might think.
Would you say that's been the biggest surprise for you at how much you have to like worry about small XP drops?
Yep. Like I don't know. I was playing when I woke up this morning. I started playing, and I had like 300 XP to go on magic, and I was like, yeah, I'll remember that. And then I started teleporting around to do a farming run, and
Oh,
all of a
yeah.
sudden there goes a TP, hit level 57. Thank goodness I had my replay buffer going, but I could have easily missed it. And in fact, I did miss it. I just happened to have a backup.
Yeah.
But that definitely has happened multiple times.
Well, that was something I wanted to ask you. One of your videos, you talk about how you recorded everything,
Yeah.
and that must have been a nightmare.
Oh yeah. It was god awful. I stopped doing that, thank God.
Yeah.
But whenever I first started, I didn't know any different. So I spent like a week recording, and then I'd have to spend like a whole week looking through the footage to find the parts that are important to cut out.
Yeah.
So I've been ever since then I started working on starting the recorder at certain times when I know I'm going to need it. And I ended up missing a few levels that way, but then I got the replay buffer set up, and ever since then it's just been smooth sailing.
Yeah, yeah. The replay buffer is great. It's such a nice tool with OBS.
Love it. The only
Yeah, I
problem
can't.
is that I try to have my skill screen open whenever I get a level up so that people can kind of see where we are overall. And if
Oh
I
yeah,
miss it, then it shows my inventory on the replay buffer, and that's not as nice. But it still saves me actually getting the level screenshot, so
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
win for me.
My problem with the replay buffer is I always want it to work as my start recording button. So I'll like something will
Oh yeah,
happen, I'll hit save, and then I'll start talking into the mic to nothing. Just I'm just like, what am I doing?
yes, I've definitely done that.
It's yeah, it's pretty goofy. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not a programmer, and OBS is something way beyond anything I can conceive of. So I don't think it's a simple problem, but it does seem like it's something that should be allowed of continue recording
Like
from this point.
you could definitely think like record the past 30 seconds and the next 30 seconds.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I don't really
exactly.
see why that might be difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it's extremely difficult and we know nothing, but it'd be nice to have, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because like sometimes I get panicked with the replay buffer of, okay, how far, if I keep talking before I save this, am I going to lose the part that I care about?
Yeah, I've had that too. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'll hit the replay buffer when something happens, and then I'll talk, and then I'll be like, replay buffer. And then I'll keep talking, replay buffer. Just like, and then I have to stitch three clips together because I don't know when one starts and when one begins. That's just content creator inside
Yeah.
baseball, though. Viewers don't care. They don't know what it's like, man.
It does change a lot of the game, I find, thinking of capturing it.
It really does. Like, one complaint I've had is a lot of times when I got a clip by surprise, I'd be really, really zoomed down. They'd be like, I've got no idea what's going on, man. You got to zoom in more on those clips.
Mm.
So, then you start thinking, okay, here comes the level. Let's zoom in. Let's angle this. Let's get a cool shot. Then we can hit the recorder.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, like, especially, when you think about content from, 5, 10 years ago, they were doing a lot with very little, but you watch it and you're not seeing a lot of that. It's all behind the scenes stuff and
Yeah,
stuff that you don't have to consider. But like people who've been doing it for a long time have really, I think, I don't want to say struggled, but worked a lot harder than we have to now, thankfully.
I still think it's amazing what some of these people can do. Like, have you seen any of the behind the scenes stuff on Gillenor games that Soup put out?
Yeah, a little bit.
Like working with that creators toolkit or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I could see it being extremely, good for production quality, but I don't know how I could possibly get into that. It's
Yeah,
an
it
enigma to me.
yeah, Chunk Evil, me and him have been talking quite a bit about it, and he's done some crazy stuff. I don't want to speak out of turn, but he's got a video coming out that uses it a lot, and it is so
Oh
cool,
boy.
the stuff that he's did. It's like a rules video, and like so much effort has gone into it. Yeah, looking at like Gilnor games, I I would really be interested to know what percentage of the footage is actually the players playing and how much of it they had to just like re-record.
It really is a good question.
Because I know he has like a full team of like people who are dressed up in the game as the players who go and like
Yeah.
get B-roll and stuff like that. But I imagine a lot of it is not actually the players themselves.
I think he talks about some of it in his behind the scenes stuff, and he's got more of it on his Patreon, but I'm not sub to that. Too cheap for all
Yeah.
that. But I would definitely be interested to hear more about it if I can ever
Yeah, yeah.
pony up the cash.
Well, man, I really appreciate you taking the time, hanging out with me, doing some fletching together.
Yeah, sure thing.
Where can people find your series? What's the way for them to find out more about what you're doing?
Uh, the easiest way is probably to go to YouTube and type in Equilibrium Man, but if they wanted to, they could do my YouTube handle at youtube.com/at Langdon Holmes. It's just my real name. I don't believe in privacy. Just kidding. Um,
What's your address again?
or maybe next time. I also just started streaming at twitch.tv/this is Landon, so hopefully some people can catch me live there.
Nice. How have you enjoyed streaming?
It's stressful,
Yeah.
a lot more stressful than it looks from the outside. It's
Yeah.
like it's very hard to keep track of stuff that's actually happening in the game and keeping track of the chat at the same time.
Yeah. Are you recording while you're doing that? Like saving clips and stuff while you're doing that?
I haven't really started doing that yet. I keep the replay
Okay.
buffer open, and I try to, if I'm getting at a level, I'll start the recorder so that I'm prepared ahead of time. But I
Yeah.
haven't really tried to take clips from the stream yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's I've thought about streaming as well, and I have a lot of I just take notes in my video. So I'll be like, okay, this is a production note. I'll
Yep.
say a bunch of stuff into the mic, and then when I'm editing, that pops up, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what I was thinking, or whatever. I don't know
Yeah,
how
I
I could
do.
do
I do
that.
the same thing, and it's. I've definitely already had the problem, even just streaming for like a week so far. I've already had the problem where like I wanted to say something to myself, but I feel like I can't because everybody's listening.
Well, I don't know if you have this problem, but I am not nice to myself. My past self is a real asshole to my current self, and I'm just like really mean.
I could see that. I
So
treat
I
my
don't.
I treat my future self as an idiot.
Yeah, me too.
Like, come on, man, you can remember this.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to expose that side of myself to an audience. That seems risky.
Oh
Well,
man.
on that note, thank you again, man. I really appreciate it. This has
Yeah,
been great.
sure thing.